Hello, and welcome to the next in the Effective Writing Center series of workshops. I'm Dan Gallagher, Director of the EWC. Today's workshop is titled Email Hacks, 10 Tips for Powerful, Effective Emails, and is being presented by Kevin Folliard and David Taylor. Writing advisor with UMUC's Effective Writing Center since 2010. He has a degree in English and Creative Writing from the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, and he also has published sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and young adult fiction. Taylor is a senior advisor at the Effective Writing Center, where he's worked since 2004 as a database advisor and writing fellow. A Carnegie Fellow at the University of Mississippi, David received his doctoral degree in composition and rhetoric. Question during the broadcast, please use the chat feature in YouTube below the viewing window. And this workshop will be archived for future viewing in the Effective Writing Center's Google Plus community. Now, let's begin tonight's workshop, David.
Well, thank you very much, Dan, and thanks to everyone joining us tonight and to those watching the archive video. It's really great to talk to you about this thing right here. You've got mail. Yes, you do. As a matter of fact, you've probably got too much mail. You probably feel like you're drowning in it. The lifeblood of each day slipping away as you face the constant influx of emails. And believe me, we feel your pain. According to a report from the Etiquette group in 2017, the typical worker sends and receives about 120 email messages per day. Now keep in mind, that's only business emails. It doesn't include personal emails. So the actual number, when combining the two, is probably doubled, as you see, to 225. But this is the average of all workers worldwide. So depending on your job, it could be higher, could be lower. But all of this email comes with a cost, especially in the business world. In 2013, Mashable estimated that on average, email takes up 28% of the average worker's day. 28%. Now, according to the McKinsey Global Institute, that 28% makes email, quote, the most time-consuming work activity that today's worker engages in. Yet, email is considered reactive, low-level, low-value work. So no wonder so many people say today we've got an email global overload epidemic. And putting dollar signs on this epidemic can really make you sick. Tom Cochran, writing for the Harvard Business Review, did just that for the company he was working for. Cochran calculated average typing speed, reading speed, response time, volume of email, average salary, total employees, and came up with the bottom line that every email in his company cost 95% of labor costs, 95 cents of each dollar of labor costs. So that adds up to, for him and his company, a yearly loss of over $1 million due to what he calls email pollution. Need some help? No problem. Email is the primary form of communication in the work world. Surely your academic studies are preparing you for it. So let's count the number of courses where you've studied email, the form of writing you'll spend almost 1/3 of your day doing. Drum roll, please. And the number is, oh, I'm sorry. But look at it this way. You now have very strong motivation for this presentation and its information, which is top 10 email hacks. They can make your life and your job a lot easier. Get us started on these hacks. I'm going to turn it over to my co-presenter and an old school email hacker himself, Kevin Folliard.
Thank you, David. We don't need an alert email to tell us the importance of the techniques we're about to study. Let's start with the number one complaint about emails, and therefore, the number one way to improve them. Hack number one, write clear, detailed subject lines. We use subject lines to tell us if and when to read an email. Vague subject lines waste time. They force the receiver to open the email in order to find out its importance, which often is little. Here are 3 rules for subject lines. They should clearly indicate the subject matter, the purpose, and the action to be taken, if applicable. Let's look at an example. Note the progression from a 2 to 3 word phrase that vaguely indicates subject matter, staff meeting, to the middle column that adds date, time, and the type of staff meeting, bi-weekly. And finally, to the last subject line, which adds purpose, bi-weekly staff meeting for updates, December 12th, 12:30 to 1 p.m. Eastern. With the last subject line, the receiver knows exactly what's in the email, its purpose, and what action is needed. That's a good subject line. Let's look at another example. We go from sick leave policies, a vague indication of subject matter, to a clear definition of subject matter, proposed sick leave policies, and the purpose of the meeting, to review and approve them. In the last iteration, we learned the action required of the email recipient and when it is due. Need your review and approval of sick leave policies by end of day. Once you see the difference between an effective subject line and an ineffective one, how can you ever go back? David, got another hack for us?
Sure do, Kevin. Here it is. Hack number 2. Stop writing and start outlining to improve skim value. The second most common complaint about emails is that they're hard to read, disorganized, with the real content buried in a tossed salad of words. The fix is simple. Reduce the number of paragraphs you use. When you use a paragraph, limit its length to 1 to 3 lines. And use the outline format in your email as much as possible. Let's look at this example. Hi, Tom. How are you? I hope you had a great weekend. Customarily, I wouldn't involve you in such matters, but I thought I'd give you a bit of background information on a report I'm working on. It's all about the future direction of the company and how we can circumvent our main competitor. I would like to know our annual turnover at the moment. It would also help if I knew what our projected annual turnover for the next 3 years might be, if you would. And if you know what percentage of our annual turnover is contributed by our leading product, that would be super helpful. I'd really like to incorporate these financial facts and figures into the report, and I look forward to your input. Best, Keisha. Did you have the same urge as me while reading this? To scream, please, just tell me what you want? Now, let's take a look at that same request, written in a no-nonsense business style that saves time, energy, and aggravation because it uses outlining. Hi, Tom. I need some financial data for a report I'm working on. Specifically, I need to know, 1, what is our annual turnover at the moment? 2, what is our projected annual turnover for the next 3 years? And 3, what percentage of our annual turnover does our leading product contribute? Could you please email me the answers to these questions by the end of the week? Thanks, Keisha. Note how the outline format, which limits the use of paragraphs, improves the skim value of the email. Tom doesn't have to dig to find out what's requested of him. He can quickly skim the email and know what Keisha wants in less than half the time. Thank you. Hey, Kevin, got another hack for us?
I sure do, David. It builds on what you were just going over. Hack number 3, specify the desired reader response. The word salad sent to Tom underscores this important hack. How many times have you read an email and, at the end, still do not know what the sender wants? Specifying the desired reader response begins in the subject line, as we've seen. Request for 3 items of financial info from you. Also notice how the desired reader response is reinforced several times in the body of the email with the lines, specifically, I need to know, and could you please email the answers to these questions by the end of the week? Email leaves Tom no question as to what response is expected and when it is expected. 3 more tips on how to get the reader response that you want. 1, if you want people to take action, type their names on the to line, not the CC line. 2, with multiple recipients, make it clear who is responsible for taking which action by listing each name with an action item next to it. And 3, always provide a specific deadline. And let me add one more quick hack while I have the floor. Hack number 4, avoid socialization. In the workplace, emails are designed to be a quick, direct form of communication, not a time for socializing. So unless you know for sure that your recipient likes and expects socializing in a business email, leave it out. For the vast majority of us who feel drowned by emails, you'll not be considered rude if you get to the point quickly and politely. Okay, back to you, David, for some more hacks.
Thank you, Kevin. Those were some good ones. Okay, hack number 5, BLUF It. BLUF stands for bottom line up front. And it means that you should state your purpose in the email's opening sentence, which is limited to 1 to 2 lines. Now, this is easy to do because virtually all business emails come with 3 purposes. 1, to inform. For example, the purpose of this email is to outline our current policy on overtime. Second purpose, to persuade. Example, below is a proposal for limiting ad drop-offs in the fourth quarter that can ensure profitability if adopted. And the third form is the request. Example, please review the following changes to our telework policy and indicate your approval or need for further revision. So there are 2 reasons to BLUF. First, it guarantees that you, the writer, know exactly what your purpose is before you send the email. Second, for the recipient, bluffing signals exactly what he/she should look for without having to guess, therefore increasing efficiency. So before sending, make sure that your email passes the top of the screen test. In other words, assume the reader will look only at the first screen of the email. Will they see your request, know your purpose, get the important information? If not, bluff a little higher. Okay, we're ready for another hack, Kevin.
Okay, David, here's one for you. Hack number 6, observe email etiquette. By now, everyone knows to turn off the caps lock to avoid screaming or scolding, but here are 5 rules that are commonly ignored. 1, modify subject lines during long email threads. Doing so indicates the most recent email for participants and can save them from having to reread emails to find the one they want. 2, set up your signature line to appear automatically with every email you send so that the recipients know A, who you are, and B, how to contact you. 3, resist reply all unless it is truly necessary, which it rarely is. 4, observe the 24-hour rule. Never send an email if you are angry or upset. These emotions play no constructive role in professional communications and can significantly hinder your career or even threaten your job. 5, avoid irony, sarcasm, and other attempts at humor that can be easily misunderstood in the black and white world of email. Play it straight. If there's any doubt, cross it out. Someday, you'll be glad you did. Got another hack for us, David?
You bet, Kevin. Hack number 7, focus on solutions, not problems. There's something about email that creates a sense of intimacy and a sense of anonymity. Both can lead to inappropriate forms of emotional sharing in emails, which should be avoided in the workplace. From personal complaints to criticizing bosses and colleagues, don't buy into these distractions in your emails. Your purpose in the professional workplace is to move your organization forward in a positive direction, including with your emails. Finding out who or what to blame should always take a second seat to solutions. Stay focused on the positive in your emails. A subpoint of this is ducking. And that refers to how the ease of email allows us to hide behind it sometimes. This means sending an email when we really should pick up the phone or walk down the hall. If you ever ask yourself, should I be saying this face to face? The answer is always to stop typing, and pick up the phone or get out of your chair. How about another hack, Kevin?
My pleasure, David. What about hack number 8? Categorize. Not all emails are created equal. Some are apples and some are oranges, and some are lemons. Categorizing your emails as you receive them can save you time. If an email requires immediate action, respond immediately. Don't let it wait around to be lost in your inbox clutter and have to spend even more time trying to find it. Use a filter to automatically shunt emails you were CC'd on into a folder. These emails are to keep you informed and don't require action. Therefore, you can read them later at your leisure. If the email is a request or a question that is not directly for you, immediately delete it or forward it to the person you think can best handle it. Your goal is to maintain an empty inbox. Dealing with email in this way gets you out of the habit of treating your inbox like a to-do list and can reduce huge email time sucks in your day. Isn't that right, David?
You bet, Kevin. Absolutely. Now, here's my last hack for everyone. and it is about the best way to end an email. Boomerang.com is a company that develops productivity software. They conducted a study of 350,000 emails from 20 different communities. The study focused on email closings compared to the responses those same emails generated. What Boomerang found is significant. Thankful closings generated higher response rates across the board. Here are their findings. At the top, you see that thanks in advance and thanks received nearly 20% higher response rates than the average or baseline email done at the bottom. That's significant. And here's a big surprise. One of the most popular ways of ending an email generated the worst response rate. As you can see at the bottom, the best way to end an email is to avoid the word best in favor of some form of thanks, all of which significantly outperform any of the other closings tested. Now, here's Kevin with our final hack and perhaps the most important one of all.
Thanks, David. Hack number 10, follow the rules. Virtually every company, for legal reasons, issues terms of use guidelines for their email systems. These guidelines can differ significantly from company to company. Now, nothing in this presentation should be taken to override any terms of use that are issued by your employer. Interestingly, some companies go beyond terms of use and issue their own email writing guidelines. And here, for example, is one such set of guidelines from FedEx, one of America's largest and most successful companies. As we close, please note how similar many of the FedEx guidelines are to the email hacks that you've encountered in this presentation. In some, keep it short, keep it simple, keep it clear, and don't send it to anyone you don't have to. We hope these hacks improve your ability to handle the email burden that is a part of every professional's life today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, David. I'm going to give it just about a minute here and see if anybody viewing now has any questions.
Sounds good.
And as a reminder, if you have any questions, you can type them right into the live chat next to the YouTube viewing window. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions at the moment. I will let our viewing audience know if you're watching the recording of this and you have questions. You can feel free to post them in our Google Plus community, and you can always reach out to the Writing Center directly at writingcenter.umuc.edu, and be sure to use the email tips that you just got when you're contacting us. And Kevin and David, thank you again. To everybody watching, good night, and we will see you again on the third Thursday of January when our Hangout series returns.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.